Hey everyone, welcome to episode 34 of the Bonehead podcast, where we talk all things Blood Bowl. Welcome back. I'm Ben, and once again I'm joined by Bloodtithe Ben.
Good evening.
How you doing, buddy? You okay?
Yeah, it's starting to become a usual home for me on the podcast, I think.
No, it's good. Hopefully we're getting a bit more slick at this, and the audio should be better as well, which is probably the most important thing.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, it also almost makes up for the fact that we're both called Ben, which might confuse people.
Yeah, well, Bonehead podcast.
Well, that's it. The Bonehead podcast, yeah. Well, Ben, thanks very much for coming on the show again. So, can you tell us what we're talking about on today's episode?
Yep, today we'll be talking about the Hangover Bowl that we've just had, some top tips for tournaments, and the usual games, hobby, and star players.
Fantastic. Right, let's get started. So, as ever, first thing first is news. Now, last episode, there was a ton of news, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was a lot. Took a while to get through.
Loads of stuff going on. This time, there's only a couple of things to mention, and one of them we did talk about on the previous episode, which was the Charlie Victor tokens. Ben, have you had a chance to look at these?
Yeah, these are really nice. Like from a graphical design standpoint, like spot on.
Yeah, they're so good. So, Charlie Victor is a company who make all kinds of things, but I think Blood Bowl tokens is kind of their biggest thing, and Blood Bowl ball tokens or ball markers are probably the thing you may have seen. The ones that are kind of a ring, there's a gap in the middle, they're made of metal, they're high quality finish, and basically they've launched a brand new campaign. It's on Indiegogo, so if you want to look at it, first of all I'll put it in the show notes, but it is Fantasy Football Team Tokens Humans on Indiegogo by Charlie Victor, and already at £12,000 against their goal of 4,000. So they're 301% as we record this, and there's 40 days left.
Yeah, no worries there for that one.
No, which is really cool. I like the idea of having a 40-day Kickstarter.
Yeah, I don't really know the ins and outs of it. Like, is there a time limit that you have to adhere by, or is it just you set your own time limit?
It feels like there might be. Now, this is Indiegogo, not Kickstarter, so there may be different rules.
Yeah.
But yeah, every other Kickstarter we see for Blood Bowl seems to be you've got 28 days to find it, to talk about it, to consider buying it, and to hope that you get paid in time to get it on the go. And there's 40 days, you've got a huge window, and I've got to say, Charlie Victor's done a superb job of spoiling, teasing, letting us know what's coming as well. This is a really well executed little jobby. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at what they're actually doing. So there's only one purchase option, which is the standard edition, for £59, and in that you get 13 premium quality tokens, an ogre bonehead band, a metal or resin coach miniature, and all unlocked stretch goals, with an estimated shipping time of July this year.
Yeah, it's really quick. Really quick turnaround.
That's another great thing about this one, is one, they've got the length, so you can decide whether or not you want it in time, and the fact it's going to come in a few months is extra tempting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let's have a look at what they're doing. So the first things first, we've got the Team Icon token. So it's an eagle with a Blood Bowl hat on, basically an eagle head with a Blood Bowl hat, and 55mm by 49mm antique nickel and gold. It's lush, isn't it?
Yeah, is it actually gold, or is it just a finish? I think it's just a finish.
Yeah, the finish is antique. Yeah, God, that would be something for £60. So there's an eagle head team icon. There's a kicked turn token. So you've got a boot with a football. You've got a received turn token, a helmet with a football, which is quite a clever idea, actually. I think there can be those games where you get to the half and you're like, did you kick to me? Did I kick to you?
Yeah, it's something which I haven't really thought about, but now you mention it.
Yeah, that
probably
is
consider having that.
It's a good one. It's a good idea. We've got a touchdown score token, which is a very cool American football with tiny little wings and a hawk face.
I feel like this has ritual over, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, Mr. Saxby, pay attention to this. We've got some ball tokens, or a ball token, which is the iconic They've updated the design, so it works for 25mm bases and 32mm bases. It's got a scatter template on it. It's double-sided. I mean, that's the token that really I feel made them famous.
Yeah, I've seen this like everywhere. I think every tournament I've been to, someone's had one of these. I don't know if I don't know if it is theirs or just something very similar. But it's got yeah. If you haven't seen them, they've got a nice enamel finish, which I don't think we mentioned, where it's like coloured enamel, so it's all like smooth and heavy and weighty. It's lovely.
It's beautifully executed. Now, I'm an unapologetic fan of all of these products. However, the ball token looks like the Power Rangers medal holder.
I definitely see that now.
Yeah. Which I think it makes me like it even more. But that might
I was about to say that as well.
Okay, Charlie Victor, Tyrannosaurus, and we've got 3 reroll tokens. Who Dares Wins, which are again just really well coloured. The artwork is brilliant on it as well.
It's spot on.
So it's got a little a football player, a Blood Bowl football player, and the artwork looks like it's from the 3rd edition. So not quite the Pete Nifton artwork, but the kind of one that came afterwards in the big blue box.
Which spikes really every millimetre.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's just classic, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've got a couple of fame tokens, or at least a double-sided fame token with +1, +2. The limited edition one's out. We've got a Bonehead band, which is a rubber band that goes around your ogre, which everybody knows are very, very useful. We've got Big Guy Down, Stunned and Prone tokens. They're
always
awesome.
useful.
Very useful. Have you seen the coach miniature?
Yeah, it's really funny.
It's really
like 'em.
It's really well done. It's got a lot of character. It kind of reminds me of the guy in the wheelchair from Dodgeball.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dip, duck, dodge, and dive. Which is cool.
And dodge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've got to have dodge. Medic Apothecary token. So the back and the front. Again, these tokens where they're double-sided, they just look so good.
I'm really looking forward to seeing them in person.
Yeah.
Because the colour, obviously these are like graphic.
Yeah,
like
these are renders. Yeah.
Yeah. But in person they still look really good. I'm hoping that colour comes through.
I'm sure it will, given what we've seen before from them. There's a wizard token, which is your classic wizard hat. I like that. And you've got some bottle opener keg tokens, which I think are brilliant.
Yeah, there seems to be quite a close connection between beer and Blood Bowl, so they know their market.
Yeah, it kind of carried it, I think, when Games Workshop wasn't. It wasn't just the NAF, it was the NAF and everyone's desire to drink beer and play board games.
Yeah.
So we got some stretch goals. There's a human team patch, which is really well done. There's some dice with the eagle head on. We've got block dice, which is unlocked as well. The block dice are quite cool. I know you're starting to be a collector of block dice.
Yeah, I do love some block dice. These are good. They're easy to read. It's obvious what everything is, and it's just quite a unique design. It's all kind of lightning bolty and jagged, and looks quite cool.
Some of the block dice that you can get from other places. So Comics in the News, that one.
I can never pronounce that.
Yeah, the Comics one. There's loads of dice on that website because I was looking for some orange and black dice for Ian, one of the local players, and some of them are really difficult to read. This, however, is pretty straightforward, which is wonderful.
Yes, always the most important thing.
And depending on how you feel about dice cups, we've got a leather dice cup here with the eagle head logo on again.
I will stay quiet.
And a dice cup mat, and dice bag and token. We've got an additional reroll design, and so that one's not quite unlocked yet.
Yeah, it looks like they haven't quite finished it says work in progress. They've got sketches at the moment.
Yeah, and there's another cool reroll design with basically Helmut Wolf in there, which is really cool. So yeah, I mean, just have a look at all of the different stuff they've got on there. There's add-on perks as well you can pick up. So like there's a coin, there's another coin, there's a patch, there's some dice. Oh yeah, of course. They do the what are they actually called? Injury dice.
Yeah, like the
D6 and the D8. Have you seen the bribe tokens?
Yeah, I love those. You get the goblin specific ones as well, which have like the ears and the skull.
Oh, they're so good.
Yeah, they're very nice.
Okay,
very nice.
£16 for 3 is quite a lot, but it's still very, very cool.
Yeah, again, collector's items.
Yeah, that's
People
it. It's Blood Bowl bling. I mean, something like £16 for a few tokens is really, really cool. £60 for a whole bunch of tokens is quite an investment, but you definitely get quality from this.
Yeah, and when you start, if you think, you buy these individually, like you can buy a set of 3 block dice for £6, and that's a bargain.
Basically,
so these things add up. So if you just consider getting it all at once, you don't need to get them again, and it's all right.
You're settled for life. So 13 premium quality tokens. There's some stretch goals there with some more tokens. So we'll say there's 15 tokens there. That's £4 a token with postage.
Yeah. It's not bad at all.
No,
it's the really good quality.
Yeah, exactly. It's really, really cool. So that is Fantasy Football Team Tokens Humans by Charlie Victor Games. All right, what have we got next, Ben?
We've got a Goblin team by
the Star Player Shop.
Yes, indeed. Which this one looks really fun. I'm a big fan of this.
Well, I thought you might be. Right, so it's pre-order Goblin Team by starplayershop.com. Pre-order until 31st of January. And this episode is going to be airing on the 25th of January, so you actually have nearly a week, which ties in massively to what we were just saying about Kickstarters, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so what do we get for our money on this one?
So we get, I believe it is the full team.
It certainly looks that way, yeah.
Yeah. So you basically get your extras like your chainsaw, your pogoer, your fanatic. It's pretty much all the extra bonuses you need for a goblin team. You get 2 trolls, a doom diver. Yeah, it's quite impressive.
Have you seen the mooning goblin?
Yes, I have. There's a lot of character in that fella.
And have you seen the goblin that basically looks like Varag Gulcher?
Yeah, I was when I was looking at the just now to sort of list off what we could see, I was thinking, is that Varag Gulcher?
They've basically got a whole bunch of star players that are goblin style.
Yeah.
That one's a bit... Oh, the one throwing the bomb is really cool as well, and the one with the wings, look at that.
Yeah, the doom diver, I imagine.
I would imagine so. It looks like a goblin version of Sanguinius from 40k. You just want to paint this guy gold.
Yeah, sort of the semi-mechanical feathered wings.
Yeah, and have him protect the Blood Bowl Emperor. The ball and chain's clever as well.
Yeah.
So the ball is on the base, so the goblin's flying up in the air, which we've seen with the newer goblin guys that have come out of Shadespire and Age of Sigmar, like with the ball on the base and the goblin flying up in the air.
I think it adds so much motion.
It does.
Yeah.
The trolls, they look pretty beefy. I'm not sure how big they are, but they
haven't really scaled them up against the other goblins. I think this is just they've got a big picture basically showing all of the.
It's kind of individual clip art, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So I don't think the scale is quite right because they seem just a little bit bigger than a goblin. But I imagine they're quite beefy. They look good.
Yeah, they've got a link to YouTube, and in the YouTube video it shows the team spinning around in a 3D design, and the trolls are twice the size of the goblins.
Yeah,
and,
they look good.
That team looks fantastic. Right, guys, if you're going to check this out, do click the YouTube link. In fact, I'll try and remember to put that in the show notes direct, because that is really cool.
Oh, you got a dude with a massive rocket.
Yeah, I know. I didn't even see him.
What's
in
he?
The team. Well, it's possible that one of them is your goblin, and the other one is Nobbler's the chainsaw guy. Bomber Dribblesnot, I assume.
Oh, with the giant rocket.
With the giant rocket. Yeah.
Oh, that could make sense. More like a nuke.
Yeah, it looks like something Wile E. Coyote would use.
Yeah. Oh, I love those.
Yeah,
really like those.
They're really cool, aren't they? So €60 including tax. So I'm assuming we're looking at an extra 5 to 10 for postage.
It's a good price. That is a good price.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not sure what that is in. It's probably going to be about the same, as about £55. So maybe £60 in UK money with postage for that goblin team. It isn't entirely clear just how many plain ordinary goblins you get.
It doesn't. It looks less on the Kickstarter page, but the YouTube video seems to show more.
A load. Yeah. So yeah. I'm hoping you get enough for your ordinary goblin team in there. But if not, actually, £18 for a box of 12 goblins, and you've got a really cool goblin team.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then that takes it into the £80 mark, which, you know what, we're seeing from third-party teams, and it's just kind of like, if they don't have the goblins, then it's a £60 upgrade for a regular Games Workshop goblin team, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, for 2 trolls and all the secret weapons.
Well, yeah, exactly. Let me see. Secret weapons, probably £20-something from Forge World and you need 2 boxes of those, and then you need 2 trolls, which will say 20 as well. So you're looking at 80 to get your 2 trolls and your fancy positionals for a goblin team straight from Forge World. This is 60. You get your 2 trolls and a whole bunch of cool individual sculpts.
Yeah, can't really complain.
Yeah, if you're starting out on a goblin team, this is definitely worth looking into. I would really like to see a bit more information on what the team is.
Yeah, they don't mention much. Maybe
it's cast in metal, which I know upsets some people out there, although I personally am a brother of metal.
Leaning that way, but it's wavering. We'll come to that later.
Yeah, hobby time. Groovy. So I think that is the only other bit of miniatures news except for the Warcry spoiler. So Warcry is another game by Games Workshop that's basically Kill Team in their Age of Sigmar world. That doesn't matter to us at all, except that everybody seems to play it at the moment. But they have got this big Minotaur shield bearer guy, which I shared on a couple of our I think I shared on Facebook and Twitter, because this one, he looks primed to be a Blood Bowl style player.
We're gonna see loads of Minotaurs come from this fella.
I reckon so. We can't quite tell what size base he's on. If he's on a 60 base, you could have a Chaos Giant right there.
Was it this guy that you were talking with Ian about? No, that was the beefier dude, wasn't it?
Yeah. Fomeroid. But again, we don't know exactly how big he's going to be. This one is about 2 to 3 times the size of a human. Because there's a picture in the army, there's like an army shot, either on this page or on a different page, where you can just see him hiding in the corner next to some human infantry. And he looks to be sort of 2 to 3 times the size of a human.
That looks like a 50 mil base.
It does. He looks like he's going to be a big guy or a small giant if you're going to use him for Blood Bowl. And according to Craig, one of our local guys, he's seen a spoiler that says it's going to be about £25.
That's fine.
It really is fine, because what's that from Entoyment or Goblin Gaming? That's £22.
Yeah, or less. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you're a big fan of Darksphere, but for 20-something pounds, you can get a very cool big guy that's either a really hench-looking Minotaur or a giant for your Chaos team.
Yeah, be maybe picking that one up. Depends if we need a new Minotaur.
Well, that's it. It depends if you can find a reason to need one.
Oh, that's the easy bit.
The real question is, can your Khorne team take Grashnak Blackhoof?
That is a good question.
Yeah.
I'll look that up between sections and we'll come back to that.
Because if so, that's a very good reason right there. Right, that is it for newsy bits. We've just got 2 tournaments to mention. One is Beachhead Bowl, which is coming up on the 8th of February, which may or may not be sold out. It was sold out, and then it was not sold out again, so I assume that a couple of people had to cancel or something. So if you're interested in coming, there's already 30 coaches at least, so if there's still a couple of tickets and you want to come, get on there and grab them quick. They may be gone by the time this airs. It's looking like a really good event. I've got my dice here. We've got the trophies are on their way from Whitefoot 3D, which is cool. We've got the stunty one here already, but yeah, it's going to be a really cool day. I've got some spot prizes that will hopefully be here in time. If not, I've got some backup spot prizes from Windsor Chog, and Pete, the owner of Entoyment, who's running the entire games convention, is going to hook us up with some sweet prizes for the players as well. And I think it's got a pretty cool rule set as well. So if you're able to come down and play some Blood Bowl. If you're not able to play some Blood Bowl and you fancy coming to a games convention, the whole thing is a games convention at the Bournemouth International Centre at the BIC. On Saturday the 8th of February, so come on down, because there's a whole load of vendors and a whole load of stuff going on, and it is actually on for Saturday and Sunday. Our tournament's just the Saturday, but if you want some gaming and you want some loot, Bournemouth is going to be your place to be in February. And the next one I need to talk about is Mana Bowl Stunty Cup 3, which is on Saturday the 22nd of February in Birmingham, in the Geek Retreat there, which I've been there 3 times for tournaments. The location is fantastic. The car park's right blooming next door, which is really, really useful. So if you're
it's such a big deal.
Honestly, man, it's so useful. And that's another great thing about Beachhead, is that the parking, there's loads of parking around the beach.
Yeah.
It might not be the cheapest thing in the world, but it is right there. So yeah, Mana Bowl Stunty Cup, which is all Stunty League teams.
Yeah, I wasn't able to come to the last one. I think it was I was just new to Blood Bowl, I think, so I didn't really get the tournament vibe, but this one I may.
Yeah, well, the offer of a lift is still there, as is the offer of a squig team, if you fancy it.
Just getting out of the house twice in February, which is the tough part.
I know. I've taken the leap. Tiff and I should be moving into our new house in the next week. Literally, hopefully next week if everything goes through, which is cool. So hopefully I would have achieved enough fiance points to be forgiven for disappearing on our weekends. But no, Untitled Bowl Stunty Cup, it's just so much fun. Lots of secret league teams, well, not secret league, Stunty league teams. It's just carnage. That wraps it up for news and tournaments coming up in February. Anything else you want to mention on that one, Ben?
I think you've covered everything. Yeah, just see you all at Beachhead.
Haha, fantastic. Right, let's move on to hobby. Okay, so games, hobby, building, buying. Ben, hobby-wise, Blood Bowl, what have you been up to, man?
So much. I'm currently working on this quarantine, which I think I've been doing for the past 3 episodes.
Yeah, it's a mighty fine quarantine.
Yeah, it's at every moment I can get, I'm putting paint on these guys because there is not much time left.
It is great seeing the work in progress is coming through on the group chat, and you need to get yourself this stuff on Instagram so I can share it, or Twitter or something.
Yeah, I'm really bad at uploading work in progresses to Instagram. I only do my finished things, and that's pretty rare because I tend to quit a project halfway through. So, yeah.
I feel like that's kind of normal. I think I found that by putting stuff up there, people are like, hey, get it done. It kind of, I don't know, adds a little bit of bonus to it. I think that's why Ian does so much of it, or Warhammer.
Yeah. Guess good motivation.
It's always better to look at Ian's work in progresses than look at his finished project. But you know how it goes.
Yeah, pretend his work in progress is finished, and it'll be No, so, his work inspires me to carry on. So I like all of his uploads.
Yeah, it's too good. It's too good. We've had a chat. We've agreed that if he carries on like this, he's going to lose fingers. I say, bless him. He's got a newborn now, Freya, and he's struggling to do any painting because the baby is strapped to his chest like the entire evening now.
Yeah, so, I mean,
he can build things and he can do some green stuff at arm's length, but he's not ready to do painting yet. So we've got a month to catch up, which is cool.
Yeah. How about you?
Well, I'm going to say finished. I didn't really finish, but I got the Sevens team done for Hangover Bowl. It was really just block colours and a whole load of agrax, but it was a cool idea, and I may at a later point go back and finish them. But my biggest hobby achievement in the last couple of weeks is building the Windsor Chog Giant. Yeah,
that thing is great. You brought it to the club on Tuesday, didn't you?
Oh yeah, man. I was hoping to get a game in, but alas, didn't swing it. But I mean, some of you out there may have seen the product review video I did, the unboxing for it. The model's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's, we've talked about it a lot on the podcast. That was my first time seeing it in person, and I was really taken aback. You think like sometimes you scale a model up, the quality, you lose quality, things become a bit rounder, like softer edges, but this thing is so good.
It's really well done. I was genuinely expecting it to turn up and be, I don't know, maybe an inch bigger than the Windsor Chog Ogre or something like that, just maybe the same size as the Gloomspite Trolls, but no, this thing is basically the same size as an Ale Guzzler Gargant from AOS, but beefier and £10 cheaper. So if any of you guys out there are looking for a giant, swing by Windsor Chog and have a look, because for £30 it's a very, very cool model. And yeah, so I built it. It didn't really take a lot of effort at all. It's resin, so you got to wash it. I hate washing resin stuff. It's not difficult in any way, shape, or form. It's just an extra step that it's just always slows me down a bit.
It's sometimes the thing, isn't it? These sort of dilemmas where you get really excited to hobby and then you realise you got to spend a little bit of effort to actually get there, but it's worth it.
Got to wash it first. So I did that for the video and it worked out great. So now I get to paint it, which is pretty cool. So I'm hoping to get it painted so I can bring it along to Beachhead in a few weeks and just have it on display. Is
that top of your hobby agenda?
Yeah, I think it is at the moment actually.
Yeah,
I think I'm in a good spot with hobby where I've got my team sorted for the next tournament I'm going to. I'll take a tournament to Beachhead in case I need to play, but it's looking like we're going to have a full house on that one, which is really, really cool. So hobby wise for Blood Bowl, I'm in a good spot where I can relax and paint a giant.
Oh, that's a good position to be in. Very
Yeah.
good position.
So you're working on your corn team. Anything else on the brew?
Well, we did mention earlier about, is it who's that Minotaur that we asked if we could take in corn team?
The new Warcry one.
Greshnak. Is it Greshnak?
Oh yeah.
Yes. He can be taken in the corn team, so I might be working on a Minotaur at some point soon. But
trying to find a way to fit a Bloodtithe and Greshnak Blackhoof into a corn team. Man, that would be a horrible team to play against. I'll take you on with my Ogre Giant team. How's that?
Yeah, that sounds fair. Fancy a free win.
Yeah, Pacific Rim, the Blood Bowl game. Which I have to say, I like the idea of.
Yeah, no. Maybe let's not laugh at that too hard. No.
Otherwise, the only purchase is I'm really tempted by this Minotaur.
Yeah. Maybe I'll let you buy it. And I'll see if I like it.
That's it. I'm questioning whether or not it fits in. So I'm not buying hobby stuff in January, except that I have bought some hobby stuff in January. But unless it's specifically to do with the podcast, in which case I need it, to do reviews. And I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure if this one counts, but I might try and squeak it in there.
I've got a bit of a wild guess for this LVO.
What have you got?
There are rumours that the new Age of Sigmar army is going to be giants and gargants.
Oh, wow.
And this comes from some shipping information, which I only saw today, which has been flying around the internet, I think it's Sons of
Behemoth.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, and that's all comes from the origin of gargants. And then we had a sporting giant and a lizard spike. And
do you think Games Workshop are tying it together?
I mean, let's be honest, no. But we can dream.
Well,
we can dream that a giant team.
They did for the ogres.
Yeah, actually they did. That's a very good point.
The ogres came out at the same time as the other ogres came out in Age of Sigmar. The Dark Elves came out at the same time that the Ideneth came out. So I don't know whether they're just using some of the same 3D models, and that might be, it could be a cool way of tying it, or whether they're finding a way to get the excitement for a certain race to spill over. And I still haven't seen anyone use the Blood Bowl ogres in Age of Sigmar, but I'm sure it's just a matter of time. But yeah, so if there is a giant release for Age of Sigmar, it could be more Blood Bowl fodder.
Yeah, that's our little rumour mill. Get that grinding up.
I like it. It's always good to have a rumour mill.
Absolutely.
So games-wise, I played, thanks to you, running Hangover Bowl, which I know we're going to talk about in just a moment. I got to play some Blood Bowl 7s, which was wicked. And I think since the last time you and I recorded, I got to play another 2 7s games.
Oh, really?
For the YouTube. So I'm just waiting to get you on now to play the next 2. And I'm hoping to get them edited soon. It depends on how the house stuff goes. If the house stuff goes ahead, it might be delayed another week. If the house stuff is delayed a week, then we should get some Blood Bowl 7s on YouTube.
Yeah, so let me know when you're free and let's get those games in.
We need to book it in real soon. That basically wraps it up for me for hobby. Ben, anything else you want to add on that?
No, not really. I know I mentioned, I just mentioned before that I was really raving about metal minis last week. A week of painting metal minis. It's wearing thin, but it was just one of those moments where you finish the skin of a model and you're thinking, that actually looks really nice, and then you go to glue a piece that you sub-assembled on and you slip, and the sharp piece just takes a chunk of the paint off, and I've never been so demoralised. So if you're painting metal models, if you're going to sub-assembly, I think just varnish the hell out of it before you even try to glue it.
Hey man, back in my day, everything was metal, apart from some really, really amazing one-piece moulds of elves, dwarves, orcs, and humans for Blood Bowl. They were all single pose, plastic, and we're talking like they were chubby sculpts as well. Like
the
old
Fisher Price plastic.
It came out in the late 80s, I assume. I think second edition came out maybe the early 90s, but yeah, they were chubby plastic models. The rest of it though was metal, so I don't know, I like metal. I like the way it feels. It's hefty.
Youth of today have it easy, though.
I know. Yeah, metal all the way.
Yeah.
Right.
Each their own.
Yeah. Should we move on to Hangover Bowl?
Yes. Yeah, let's do that.
Fantastic. Right. We'll be back in a sec. We spoke about it a few episodes ago, and it's been and gone. We're going to talk through Hangover Bowl and how it went, basically. So before we move on, Ben, catch us up. Could you remind us what Hangover Bowl was?
Yeah, so this was a crazy pipe dream idea that we came up with just before Christmas, where we thought, we've got like a fun little club. We, talk about Blood Bowl for way too long during the day, and we thought it'd be quite nice to do a Secret Santa kind of thing. But there's things with Secret Santa where people don't stick to budgets and people get stuff people don't want and things like that, and it's difficult to do easily. So I pitched the idea to the group. Thought, what could we do? Let's do like a sevens tournament or something like that. And then it sort of grew, didn't it, to become this. What if we do like a tournament where we mix sprues and things like that? And so it became essentially a draft where we all took a sprue from 2 different Games Workshop teams, mashed them together, and created a sevens team. And it actually worked really well.
It was brilliant, man. You had a great idea. It was brilliantly executed. So thank you for organising it. Everyone,
It was a pleasure.
It was quite funny because you only thought we'd get like 6 or 7 people interested, but we ended up maxing out on teams.
Yeah, we filled up all the teams except Goblins was the only one we didn't use, wasn't it? Goblins and Ogres. Ogres went out yet, and Goblins isn't really viable.
Exactly. Which means if we do it again next year, which I'm really hoping we do, there'll be even more teams, which is very exciting.
Yeah, maybe mix up the rules or something, do something else. We'll come across that bridge when it comes to it.
Oh, absolutely. But no, so it was mixed team sevens basically, but with a random element to it. And then you had to build your team, and Ben organised some great prizes for it. So the team combinations that we ended up having, we had Dark Elf and Skaven, Human and Lizardman, Chaos Wood Elves, Dwarf Halfling, Human Nurgle, Chaos Skaven, Undead Wood Elf, Dark Elf Dwarf, Chaos Undead, Halfling Pro Elf, and Nurgle Orc.
Yeah, it's worth noting the Halfling did come with the Tree Man.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we got some Warlords of Era 1 Tree Men, which I think we've spoken about a couple of times on the podcast.
They're so good, man.
Yeah, you get a pack of 3 for really cheap. And we just charge whoever draws Halfling gets a free Tree Man. It takes the sting a little bit of getting a Halfling team to make a team out of.
It gives you a really cool way to build as well, which was cool. So we used the standard sevens build rules of up to 4 positionals, 600k, rerolls are doubled, and we applied the mixed team rules basically from Bonehead Bowl. No, we didn't even. It was just that you took the most expensive and had
that's what it was.
And you needed to have at least 3 players from each team.
Yeah, just so you don't, just make a chaos team or something. Yeah.
Which worked out brilliantly, added a load of interesting stuff to the builds. So we'll just talk through basically what we had. So the group, there were some absolutely brilliant efforts.
Smashing.
And we got a great mix of players. We've got players who are kind of new to the hobby, don't have a lot of experience with it. We've got some pros. We've got some pros that have just had a baby, Ian. So he only got to paint some of his humans, but he painted them unnecessarily well, which was awesome. And we had some cool builds and things. So I think we'll just go straight to the winner of the best team then. Who was that?
Yeah, so we had a prize for the best team, which everyone who turned up to the club anonymously voted for, and it was pretty unanimous. There were some of the votes, other people did get votes too, but this one got it by a landslide, which was Ben the Third.
Yeah, Ben
which
3.
Is another Ben. He really took the Hangover Bowl theme. So we called it Hangover Bowl purely because it was our first club night back for New Year, and we'd all gone away for Christmas. It started with Secret Santa, everyone has their festivities, and then we come back to, everyone's tired, they've all had the fun. We just thought, Hangover Bowl. But he really took that to the extreme and had a whole stag do themed team where he had Dark Elf and Dwarf, and the idea is that one of the dwarves was out on a stag and gave him some balloons tied around him.
The balloons were great.
Great addition, yeah. Everyone had like bottles of whiskey and like cups of beer that he'd modelled onto them. He really did a superb job at those. Yeah. His witch elf was dancing for everyone, which was great.
Oh, yeah.
It was just funny. It was good to see the taking the theme to heart, and he deserved to win that.
He smashed it. That was great. So he won. Was it a shot glass for best team?
No, he got a tree man. He got the third tree man.
Oh, the tree man. Oh, that is a great prize.
Yes, because we got 3. We gave 2 away to the halfling teams and had the third spare.
And I kept the third for the bit. Oh, that's good. I'm interested to see. I hope he cracks on and paints that, because I think he'll do a good job of it. Cool. Yeah, there was some. Your team was beautifully painted, but unfortunately, you took the hit as the TO and did a superb job of running it, but you stood down from the game.
Hey, it's all good. I'll be using them soon. Don't you worry.
Good.
I'll find use for them.
Good. And the paint job was superb, man.
Yeah,
it was
thank
really,
you.
really well done. So what we were planning on doing was each of us talking through our games, but unfortunately, where Ben didn't get to play, it will just be me recapping mine.
No, please do. I'll be pleased to hear it.
Right, cool. So it was a 3-round sevens tournament, which we managed to get done in 3 hours, 3.5 hours with the prize bit, basically, wasn't it, Ben?
Yep.
Yeah, which I can recommend. If you've got a regular club, have a sevens tournament evening. You just get a load of Blood Bowl in. It's great.
Yeah, we started at 7:30 and wrapped up by 11. So yeah, it's really good.
Worked out really, really well. So my first round, as Ben won, played against Alex. So Alex is the youngest member of our team, and he was running an undead wood elf team.
Yeah, really. If top tier could be a mixed team, I think that's probably what it would be.
It was a really, really good team. So he had the war dancer in there, had the mummy, he had a bunch of he had all the good stuff basically, and he played really, really, really well. It was a tight game. I ended up squeaking out a win 2-1. I pulled off a cheeky defensive touchdown, and once you break the serve, you can kind of sacrifice your players. So I was running Dark Elf and Skaven, so I had all the fun stuff there.
Tell me what you had. What positions did you take?
Okay, so I had a Blitzer with dodge. I had a Dark Elf. So a Dark Elf Blitzer with dodge, a Dark Elf Runner with dodge as well. I had a Gutter Runner with no skill ups, had a Dark Elf Lineman with leader, had another Dark Elf Lineman, and then I had the Skaven Thrower and the Gutter Runner and 2 other Skaven. One of them had kick. So I had 8 players. No, I had a Skaven Blitzer in as well. So it was my Dark Elf Blitzer, Skaven Blitzer, Gutter Runner, and...
Did you have the Blitzer in? Because it's 4 positionals max.
No, I didn't take the Skaven Thrower in the end. I just built him.
No thrower. Okay.
Yeah, I went with the Runner instead because I was... basically, Rick talked me into it. So I had Dark Elf Runner with dodge, had a Dark Elf Blitzer with dodge, had a Skaven Blitzer, a Gutter Runner, and a Dark Elf Lineman had leader, and one of my Skaven guys had kick. So kick mixed in with some edge for dodge and a Gutter Runner, so I had a bunch of dodge guys on there. Meant I could kind of claim the ball, and I did get that defensive touchdown off. And yeah, it was a really, really tight game. Alex played brilliantly. It was horrible. I could not stop their first touchdown. Just couldn't. So then I ended up having to squeak it back. But it was a good game. Really good game. Alex played brilliantly well. So after the first round, I won that first game. Will and Ben drew. Milton won 2-1. Sam won 2-0. And Nathan beat Lewis. Now I think, was that a halfling off? So yeah, that was a halfling off between Lewis and Nathan. Lewis was halfling pro elf and Nathan was dwarf halfling.
Yeah, so it was just a timing thing. So people arrive at different times. I was trying to make it to the first round. There were no mirror matches because we didn't have any teams that were the same. They were all different teams. But this one ended up being a mirror. But it was really interesting to watch because it was because Nathan's quite new to the game, but he picked it up really fast, and Lewis was a great coach. He was really helping him out, which was great because they both had the trees and the halflings. They could kind of offer that help with each other, and they took similar builds and stuff like that. So it was. I watched a bit of this, and it was quite fun. Some pretty nasty rolls from both sides.
And I feel like that's the first game Lewis has lost in quite a long time, which is quite cool.
Yeah. So Nathan dethroned him. But I mean, when you're running, I think Lewis had the only tier 5 team. If you add the tier 2 and tier 3, he was the only one with a tier 2 and a tier 3.
I think that's fair enough given how he's gone on a rampage recently. So I think that's Nuffle helping us out there. So that was it for round 1. So using Swiss pairing, we went into round 2, and I was playing against Milton. So Milton, who's been on the show at least once before and been on the YouTube quite a lot, he was running humans and lizardmen. So his team was beautifully put together.
Yeah, he really did a good job on these.
So he didn't take it all that seriously when it came to his skills, or at least joked about it. So he had 3 Saurus and a human blitzer were his positionals, and then he rounded it up with did he even have skinks?
No, the rest were humans.
Yeah,
I believe.
the rest were just human linemen. But he had 3 Saurus, Blockrus, Dodgerus, and Guardrus, and he colour coded them appropriately. And his one human, he took a headdress off a skink model, glued it to the human blitzer, and I have a tendency to call him Miltonio Banderas. And
I think that caught on.
So that was the premise for his team, is that Miltonio Banderas was a conquistador, and him and his human guys went over there and formed this team with 3 very special Saurus. One with block, one with guard, and one with dodge, because he had a floating double to take. And that dodge Saurus turned out to be really good.
We joked about this so much before. Just why are you putting dodge on a Saurus? But
it's just, well, he's got strength 4, so he takes a lot of effort to get a 2-die block, and then he's basically -1 to hit because he's got that dodge. So defender stumbles does nothing to him. So you've got this strength 4 roadblock that you need to basically natural 6 it to take down. It was really good. It was a really good defensive skill.
I don't know. Did he ever make any 5+ dodges?
Oh no!
No, okay.
He was Amazon shielding it the entire time.
Okay.
It was just Milton, when we played an Age of Sigmar thing, got a zombie dragon and put loads of debuffs on it, so that basically it was just -75 to hit, and basically that's what he did with this dodge Saurus. It's just you couldn't hit him, and it was awesome. So that was a really tough game. This was the first time that on the opening turn my my gutter was murdered by a throw teammate, by a rock.
No.
Yeah, murdered straight off the bat. I was like, oh, that's not great.
That's life.
So I was defending with 6 players against his team, and he walked down and scored. And then I think it was a pretty straight. I then went in, had 2 turns to go, snuck in there with a sideline blitzer and a cheeky pass to get that touchdown, and then he got a defensive touchdown in the second half, and then again I snuck it back last turn to get the 2-all draw, which was a very, very tough game. So Humans Elizabeth, yeah, really good team, and Milton, as anyone who's watched the YouTube series knows, he knows how to play 7s.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah, it was a really tight game. So we ended up tied at 2-2. So Nathan, our hero from the first round, with his dwarf halfling team that destroyed Lewis, went on and lost 2-0 to Sam. And Sam was running Chaos and Wood Elf, which was a pretty tasty team.
He painted these up beautifully as well.
Yeah, really well done.
I want to give a shout out actually to everyone who participated, just because everyone painted their teams.
Yeah,
not everyone was able to fully finish their teams, but everyone had teams painted, and that's all you need.
Everyone had a
stick colour on it.
Everyone had a
and
go.
It's good.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think it's just so much. I really wasn't expecting that, so I'm honestly really grateful that people put the effort in, because it wasn't a huge time window. We only had about a month.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot shorter a window than we thought, actually, but
it came around quick.
It was so cool to see everyone taking part.
Yeah.
So Will and Dan played. Dan went 3-2 against Will. So Will was running Chaos Undead, and Dan was running Chaos and Skaven, which was a very tasty combination as well. And then in the round 2, we carry on. Ben 3, who won best team, lost 3-1 to Alex with his Chaos with his Wood Elf Undead team.
This was a good game for Alex. I saw some of this where his mummy really doing what he should be doing.
Yeah,
a lot of strength 5 blocks there. Not much strength 5 out there in this tournament. So
I don't think Alex had played Undead before. Maybe he had one game, but he put that tactic together. Never played Wood Elves. He played against Wood Elves. He played me with Wood Elves in a random team. He brought his Goblin team. We played a full 11s league match. I brought a brand new Wood Elf team, and it ended up being 7-3. So,
oh wow,
yeah.
Okay.
To date, the highest scoring game in Wobble history, which was cool. So he saw some. He knows how Wood Elves play. And the last game was Ian Warhannam against Good Guy Lewis, and Ian won 2-1 with his human Nurgle team against Lewis's Pro Elf Treeman, which was very cool. So it was good to see Ian put out a win there. And then we went into round 3.
Yeah, so we had Milton off against Sam.
Yeah, so Miltonio Banderas with his human lizards.
Yep. Pulled off a 2-1 win against the Wood Elf Chaos.
That was a pretty big game.
It was a big game,
yeah,
because both were in the running for the top spot there.
Yeah. And then I had a heck of a game against Dan.
Yeah, I think you finished the game last, didn't you?
Yeah.
I think you were the last to finish, because Milton and Sam were battling out for the top 2 spots.
Yep.
And then you came in.
So yeah, it ended up being 3-2 to me against Dan, and it was basically a Skaven off. His Chaos Skaven against my Dark Elf Skaven, and it was a heck of a game. His positioning was superb, and it was funny, I spoke to him at club this week and he said, really liked playing the Skaven. I might have to borrow Alex's team. Because he was like, because Dan plays a heck of an Orc game, and he's got a heck of an Orc League team. I think it's tipping 1,500 or something like it. It's that Orc team that you don't want to play. So I'm quite excited at the prospect of him maybe moving on to Skaven for a bit.
Something you can bash.
Yeah, so I pulled out the 3-2 win against him, which was awesome. Nathan then played against Alex. So Alex in the previous round had gone 3-1 against Ben 3, and Nathan ends up pulling up a 1-0 upset with his dwarf halflings.
Yeah, he had no problem beating Dwarf Dark Elf, but apparently Dwarf Halfling offered a much bigger challenge. Who'd have thought that?
I have no idea, but that is a cool outcome. Ian played against Will, pulled a 1-0, and then Ben 3 and Lewis drew. And that wrapped up all the games for the day.
To be honest, I think the game with Alex, I think I'll cut him some slack here. I think it was this game where I watched his War Dancer try and make the 2+ dodge to score a touchdown. And
he died.
1-1 Snake Eyes and died. Yes.
So Alex has both the most insanely good luck and the insanely bad luck at the same time. It's incredible.
Yeah, it was rough to watch that.
He will pull off some unnecessarily brilliant stuff, and then he'll just go flop it on a double one. Oh, bless him. But he plays brave, I think, is probably the best way to describe his tactics.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah, I'll always remember the time he fouled James's death roll off his pitch, and I think in his second league game. So it was heroic. That wrapped up all of the games, and thanks to Ben running this tournament, I got to play some 7s, which was cool. And
not only did you get to play, you managed to come away with the win.
I snuck into first place at 78 points. Second place going to Milton with 77 points. 1 point in it. Yeah, it was close. One extra touchdown. So I scored seven touchdowns. Milton scored 6, and that was so we both had 2 wins and a draw. So I snuck in with 1 point to take the lead, which I'm so happy about. I mean, it's only a game, it was only a mini game, but hey, I got to play and I got to win. It was very exciting. Yeah, your touchdown difference was the same. Your win-loss draw was the same. Your casualties were the same. Yep. It was really just that extra one at the end. I was just a little bit scorier. And you know what? And I got to take away the picture, which you masterfully ordered, Ben. Yeah, no, engraved a little tankard. Yeah, so cool. Let's talk about who came last. So from the bottom then, Ben, you didn't get to play, so you scored 0 points. Yeah, that's fine. I know. We'll talk about that in a minute, actually. Lewis came in with 12 points with his Halfling Pro Elf team. Will came in next from the bottom with 13 points with Chaos Undead. Ben 24 points with Dark Elf Dwarf. Alex, Undead Wood Elf, 35 points. Dan, Alex's dad, Chaos Skaven, 39 points with 1 win and 2 losses. Ian, 64 points with 2 wins and 1 loss with his Human Nurgle. Nathan, taking 4th place with Dwarfs and Halflings. Actually, it is 4th place. 65 points, 2 wins and a loss with those. Sam took the 3rd place spot, also with 65 points, but had it on the tiebreaker of touchdowns. He scored 5 touchdowns, and Nathan only scored 2. 2 wins and a loss for 3rd place, and then Milton 2nd with 77, and me 1st with 78, which was awesome fun.
Yeah, it was really fun to watch, and second and third place, first place and second place walked away with some nice prizes. Second and third got a whiskey glass.
Yay!
Last place got a consolation shot glass, as did chocolate armor, which I think also went to Lewis.
Who had the most casualties suffered?
That was Lewis.
It would have been Lewis. Yeah, with the -2. Bless his heart. Look, check out Nathan there. So dwarf halfling casualties 3-0.
Yeah, that's not. He walked away with the most casualties with that. He didn't concede any.
He protected his halflings using dwarves. Who knew? Who knew teamwork was so successful? Dwarves and a treeman can counterbalance that. That's so cool. That's so cool to see.
All you need on a halfling team is some dwarves. It's fine.
Yeah. See, I like that. That just fits nicely. And then you were very gracious enough to have a most touchdowns scored shot glass as well, which I snuck away with for being a greedy coach and scoring 7 touchdowns.
No, it's good. Good to see. To be honest, probably what I would have expected with Dark Elf and Skaven. Very rapid team.
Yeah. I think I'm very glad we didn't see a Wood Elf Skaven team. That
would have been horrendous.
I think that would have probably been really, really cool. So, I mean, looking at the tierings, I had a double tier 1. Milton second, though, had a tier 1 and a tier 2. Sam had a tier 1 and tier 2. So, the other teams that had double tier 1s, so Undead Wood Elf, Dark Elf Dwarf. They came mid of the table. So, it was all in all a really well executed and really good fun day. So, Ben, right, you did a great job being the TO, organising it. Thank you so much. Well done. How was it?
Thank you.
How did you like it?
I thought it was great. I thought it was really fun to see people play so much sevens at the club, and to get 3 games in a night was awesome. I was quite strict on the timing, but that was just because you've got to get 3 games in 3 hours.
You've got to do it.
You've got to be.
Yeah.
But people managed. I don't think any game really overrun, and that was including one which started 15 minutes late, and that still finished pretty much. I think they skipped a couple of turns, but it wouldn't have changed too much. Yeah.
But no.
So it was.
How was being the dungeon master for a Blood Bowl tournament go? How did you enjoy that?
You get an element of power, which is quite nice. You feel important. I felt like you.
Yeah, well, it was good fun. I mean, you facilitated. How many games was that? 15 brilliant games. So well done, mate. Super job.
Yeah. Thank you.
And it's good fun running Blood Bowl tournaments. I do recommend it.
I couldn't have done it without your spreadsheets, which really helped. They lined up all the next games just by entering the values, which I also entered wrong. So thank you for helping me there.
Yeah, tried to deny me my victory.
Yeah, I was pretty bad. Pretty bad with Excel, it seems.
So that was really, 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 really good. What would you want to do differently next time? Now, not brewing up the next format, but anything on that one you kind of tweak or try and do better if you were to do that same thing again.
I mean, I would have quite liked a way where people can potentially reuse this. Like, part of me felt a little bad where people would join, they have their team, they play it once, and that's that. But there's no reason we can't do more mixed sevens at Wobble.
Well, first of all, I think we should definitely do more mixed sevens.
Yeah, we can get more use out of these.
But, a couple of the guys did suggest this, and it's actually quite an interesting idea, was instead of having 3 in one night, have 4 over 2 nights. So,
okay.
Yeah, so the games were easier. The games would be easier to fit in. There's kind of that extra month, for example, say we just did it one night and then we did it the same week of the following month to get it both in. So Simon was unable to attend, and he would have been able to sneak in 2 games. Right, he wouldn't have won, but he still could have participated. So that was a really good suggestion. I can't remember who it was. I feel like it was Ian or Sam that mentioned that. But I remember thinking, yeah, you know what? That's probably a cool idea. It'd take a bit of the pressure off.
I like that.
Yeah, which is good. But otherwise, I think it was really, really, really well executed. Right, this is for me now the most important thing. Mixed sevens. How did you think the format went?
Way better than I expected. I think when we listed the teams in order here, we had Dark Elf Skaven, the 2 tier 1s did top it. But all in all, it was pretty mixed. We had Dark Elf Dwarf come third from bottom, which I really didn't expect. I think even last podcast I mentioned that team is probably going to dominate.
Yeah, that
will be the one to watch.
Ben 3 was definitely the one you thought you needed to watch, and I was the Chaos Skaven mix. Basically, yeah. I mean, it didn't.
I think the biggest thing. Yeah. I think the biggest thing for this is the fact that we were limited by the sprues.
I loved that. I loved that. I thought it was really good. It really affected the way you built the team, but there was still a ton of options. I think.
No, absolutely.
I think mixed sevens is definitely something that we should investigate, because there's a whole load of builds, and the great thing about sevens is, if you have a bad game, it's over in 45 minutes, and you can rack them up again and have another team. So yeah, I was really impressed with that. None of it was broken.
No, I do agree.
I
think maybe that was the caveat, was even if you limit mixed sevens to, you can only have one player type, one positional type per team, or for full 11s you can have two or something.
Yeah, one of each positional in sevens, but still with that full positional cap, it felt tight. It felt that no one had a massive advantage. It created some really interesting builds. I mean, I ended up building a load more players than I could end up using, because I just simply didn't know which one to take. And you end up with, and this is the really cool thing about this, is you end up with two halves of a very cool team here. So all we need to do now is get on eBay and for £11 pick up the second sprue for one of your teams, and you've got a team sorted.
Yeah, that's very true. I think a few people used it as different hobby painting experiences as well, which I know I did. At least I tried something new with painting, and that was, I really enjoyed doing that, and I'll probably apply that to a team at some point in the future.
I would love to see you do that, because it was your team was beautifully done. Yeah, so I mean, it's everything I love. I love sevens, I love mixed teams, and it was a great tournament experience. So you guys out there listening, I cannot recommend this enough. Even if it's just play a few games of sevens, but you can have the mixed teams in there, and you have a bit of fun. It's really low buy-in, really low yield, and you don't lose anything out on it. So yeah, really, really well done, Ben. Thank you so much for running it, and I literally cannot wait for the next iteration of this, because it was awesome fun.
New year 2021, something new. Who knows?
Yeah.
21s, there you go. 3 games of sevens at once.
Job done, there you go. You've got it.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll try that for YouTube as well, because that's quite a cool idea. Brilliant. I think that wraps it up for Hangover Bowl. Yeah, wicked. Okay. Right, let's move on to our tournament top tips. Okay, it's time for tournament top tips. Now, the reason we're going through this is we've got our first tournament of the year coming up, Beachhead, in just a few weeks' time, and there's quite a few players that have asked us, hey, it's my first tournament, I might come, I might not come, like, I've never done a tournament before, or it's been a while since I've done a tournament. And I remember going to my first Blood Bowl tournament a couple of years ago. It was Mana Bowl, and I went to that one because it was going to be stupid, so I wasn't too worried about making mistakes. Then when I went to Birmingham Brawl, which was a full-on NAF one, it's a bit of an experience. Fortunately, I've done tournaments and game days and things before, so just thought it might be a good idea to talk through some basics, or some, like, a beginner's guide to Blood Bowl tournaments. And I cannot say thank you enough to all of the community that helped. So I posted comments out everywhere, and had some comments through Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, loads of great advice from players. So what we've done is we've collated it together to talk through some summaries. There's a couple of specific bits that people have written that we want to read out, but otherwise, thank you everybody out for participating, and help us compile a good starter list for tournament advice. Before we go on, Ben, I can't remember. Have you've been to tournaments that weren't Blood Bowl before?
No, I haven't.
Okay,
no.
Fine. I couldn't remember if because I know we spoke about it before. I couldn't remember if you had or not. But these things kind of do apply to Blood Bowl and not to Blood Bowl as well. So it was good to get some advice from Ian, who goes to Age of Sigmar tournaments all the time. And we'll read his advice out separately. Bless his little heart. So broken it down into time zones, basically. So we've got before the tournament, so weeks before. We've got the day before the tournament. We've got tournament day, and we've got at the event, and then we've got after the event. So we'll just talk through the advice that we've got as it goes step by step, really. Okie dokie.
Yeah.
So before the tournament, so a few weeks out, months out, or whatever, a lot of the advice we were given was about the rules. Know the rules. Know how to play Blood Bowl. Read them. Practice Blood Bowl. Play on Blood Bowl 2. But, and this was really lovely to read, is that it's just a reminder that tournaments are actually, Blood Bowl tournaments are generally speaking really friendly environments.
Absolutely.
And there's so much advice about just the first thing you should do when you sit down at the day is just let your opponent know it's my first tournament. You know, it's fine. Like, it's okay. Generally speaking, people will help you out in that advice, in that circumstance. And
I think ultimately, if you're ever in the position, which you most likely won't be, if you ever are, if anyone has a problem, that's a problem with them, not a problem with you. People are new to tournaments. You know, everyone's got to have a first tournament. And in my one, I know I was asking a couple of questions, but the opponent was always helpful. Like, you know, how many times you scatter a throw teammate or something like that, and they will tell you. And it's just that agreement that you have with your opponent. It's good.
So yeah, I guess the first lesson is know how to play Blood Bowl, but don't be afraid if you're not 100% on it. It's not a hyper-competitive place. It's a place...
It's not.
Tournaments are a place where you go to play a bunch of games together. Some people play to win. I think everyone plays to try and win, but you're there to play games. That's your priority. And if you go in knowing that that's your goal, is I'm going to play 3 games of Blood Bowl today, you've already won, right? You're playing for the story, which is great. So yes, advice number 1, read the rules. And advice number 2 links into this, and this was one of the other ones that was absolutely spaffed all over the place. Read the tournament rules pack.
I think you can vouch for this one.
Oh man, so Blood Bowl tournaments, because Blood Bowl is generally speaking a really tight rule set, isn't it? There's hardly anything there that you can get wrong. There's a lot of rules, so it's easy to get the rules and the orders wrong, but the rules are written quite clearly, which means that us crazy people that run the tournaments, TOs, we can introduce interesting rules to make each tournament our own. Blood Bowl tends to be a very feudal thing, where everyone wants their event to feel like their event, have a unique feel and a unique spark, and every tournament seems to do this. I've been doing a lot of stuff with the SWTC, and every single tournament has a different build order, different special rules, different this, different that. I mean, Ben, I'm sure you can think of a couple of examples of tournaments you've been to in Blood Bowl that have got different rule sets.
Yeah, different weather tables, different kickoff charts. Yeah, there'll be new things.
So if you look at the 4 tournaments that we're running this year, Beachhead, it's got a different rules build than all of them. And they'll all have the different elements. So read the rules pack. Hopefully it's not too confusing. And if you're confused, by all means ask the TO, because you will probably not be the only person confused about a certain rule. So you've read the rules pack. Build your team. So this is one of my favourite parts of the hobby. It's the game.
Pretty much the best part of the tournament. Yeah.
Oh man,
I love this bit.
It's brewing the teams. The teams. What am I going to take? What skills am I going to put? What do you think? And whether you're a solo Blood Bowl player or you've got a massive group chat, you will have just as much fun brewing up ideas. Like, oh, you know what? I can drop that extra reroll and get Ripper into the team, and then I'm running all the trolls. Ben, do it. How many trolls did you run at Bonehead Bowl?
4. Yeah.
Oh man, that was
it's got to be done.
Really stupid.
Nice.
No, that was cool. But that's it. Is build your team and make yourself organised with the team that you're taking. And I guess a bit that is probably one close to my heart as a TO is build your team and then do send it to the tournament organiser to check it over.
Absolutely.
By the deadline they specify, there's normally a very good reason for that. So for example, Beachhead, if you're coming to Beachhead, I'd like the lists in by Saturday the 1st if possible, because that way I can check them all over, and I'm going to be printing out packs for all the coaches, because I always do, because it's just more organised that way. And honestly, these days people don't have a lot of printers. Like, it's really funny. No one had a printer at one point because they were expensive. Then they became cheap and everyone had a printer. And then because they are so cheap and people don't use paper anymore, now no one's got a printer again. So
it's the truth. It's the truth.
So yeah, get your lists into me. I will sort them out. I will print them, and I'll make sure they're all right. So yes, if you're going to a tournament and they say, "Hey, get your lists in," normally a week before the event, do get your list in so that you can rock up on the day and you don't have to worry about it. And that is the main reason that list should be in early, is so that on the day you rock up with your stuff and you're good to go straight off the bat.
And on top of that, it's not just that. It's if you make your list and then you're painting a new team for the tournament, and you've spent all the effort to paint a team of really awesome dudes that you put loads of time and effort in, and it's not valid, that would suck. So if you make your list, send it in, get it authorised, and then you can start painting knowing that all of them are fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Or, do what I do and paint the team the night before the tournament.
Yeah, well, that works too.
Or in the way of Hangover Bowl, I was painting it about 2 hours before the tournament, which is...
I don't know how you do this every time.
I don't know why I do this. I can't stop myself. So yeah, build your team. Practice playing in a time limit. So most leagues, so our league is a cracking example of this. We've got about 3.5 hours of a club night. That's enough to get apparently 3 games of sevens in, or one regular league game, right? So you don't have to rush because you've got 3 hours. In a tournament where you're trying to fit 3 or sometimes 4 11s games in a day, you've got a time limit of 2 hours, maybe 2.25, maybe 2.5. That requires you to play sharpish, really.
Yeah, I think if you can get used to playing to a turn timer, it's good. If like Blood Bowl 2 has that built in, maybe use that as a little tester, or like if you don't have people to practice with regularly, or just ask people on your usual league night, just, hey, can we try and play with 2.5 minutes for this game or something like that? And you'll be surprised how fun it can make the game as well when you're focused and you're playing and you get the game done really quickly. It's a different dynamic, which I think is actually worth, even if you hate turn timers, maybe give it a go, because you might be surprised.
You can get more Blood Bowl done. It's funny because people burn through league games on Blood Bowl 2 and things because they can get more games in quicker.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you don't have the setup time, and really part of playing tabletop is the socialisation, and you're sharing that experience with someone. But actually, if you do use a 4-minute turn timer, you'll get your game done plenty quickly enough. I mean, I think you and Rich have used one before. Is that right?
Yeah. That was my fastest ever game. It was so good.
Was it 2 minutes or 3 minutes you went for?
I think we gave us 2.5.
Oh wow!
But then we had some turns. I think there were 3 or 4 turns in a row where our first action was double skull, and we just skipped through about 3 turns in about 10 seconds.
Sounds like that did sevens game.
Yeah, it did shave a lot off it. But no, I really enjoyed that. I felt like I played way better than
it focuses you. You're playing.
It really does. But if you take the half time to do I love chatting to the opponent, but maybe you just say, at half time, we'll have a little assess, we'll have a chat, we'll laugh about the things that happened in the drive, and it's...
And you know what? Most TOs will do the announcements. So
yes.
I generally do it at an hour, and then with half an hour to go, 15 minutes to go, and then time, to keep the players under wraps. I mean, one of the tournaments we had, we got to the hour mark, and they were just going into turn 4, and that's the only time I've sort of said, guys, you should really be using a timer on this one, and they did, and they got the game done. But yes, you probably won't have to worry about timers if you play promptly, but just be aware that that's a thing that you might need to do, because it's just not fun if you don't get a game finished. It's just a shame.
Yeah, it's not. And the more time you leave, the more time you have to go around the show and buy things, if they have.
Well,
if it's a store or a show, yeah.
That's it. And that's something I will say for tournaments is you never really lose anything by getting your game done early. It's just more chill. You get more time to eat things. You get more time to mooch around, or just relax, or just go and poke fun at someone else, which is always quite entertaining. Right, so ahead of time, just give it a Google. Check out the location, parking, food, travel, how long it's going to take you to get there. It's not a huge ask. I'm sure everyone gets a couple of minutes on their break at work, or just at work while working, Ben, where they can Google
Not too loud.
It's a good idea to just check out where you're headed, where the parking is going to be, and I'll tell this story 100 times more. When Rich and I went up to play Mana Bowl, we found a car park near the venue, but we hadn't checked beforehand. We just chose a car park, and we were lucky that it turned out to be literally 3 doors down from the shop. But,
so convenient.
Yeah, it was really lucky. We hadn't planned. Do plan. I recommend it. It will help you. It will help you be less stressed on the tournament day. And I guess this one links into another point in there, which a load of people said was go with friends.
Yeah.
If you're travelling somewhere, so we're very lucky in England that there are tournaments very regularly in a very. I mean, we're going to go up to. Well, hopefully, if I can trick you into it, we're going to go up to Birmingham. Right, Birmingham's 2.5 hour journey. I think most Americans would kill for have tournaments. We're like, oh, it's a bit far. Is it?
They fly to theirs.
It's fine. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Ian and I went up to Warhammer World so he could play a game of Age of Sigmar with a stranger from the internet, and I, went to protect him. Turned out a lovely guy, and it was a great day. But we drove up to Nottingham, which was 3.5 hours, and then we had a game, had Bugman's Bar and everything. And when we went to come back, and it was like 9 o'clock, and we kind of thought, you know what, we'll just be home by midnight if we leave now. So you can do those things, but yeah. Going with friends makes it a lot easier on the travel and the experience. If you can't, don't worry, you will make friends there. But if you can, plan ahead, go with some people, look at where you're going. It will just, it's an adventure. Like, it's a really lame thing to say, but genuinely, if you've got a Sam Gamgee in the group, it will be the furthest point they've gone from the Shire. But what a reason. They can come back with a trophy.
If you've got no friends who play Blood Bowl, I think the only thing stopping someone getting into Blood Bowl is a game of Blood Bowl.
Yeah, but the absolutely. And tournaments can be quite daunting, but they ought not to be, because it really is just a group of people playing games. So yes, check out the location. Go with friends. Talk to the TO if you need help. So a load of people put this. Rob, friend of the podcast, emphasised this heavily in his comments. But if you read the rules back and you're unsure, if it's your first tournament and you're unsure, if you need some help or some advice, just talk to the TO. It's great fun. They're invested. They want to run a really good event. They want all the coaches to have a good time, and they just, they'll know stuff. Just drop them a message. Don't be afraid to say, hey, what's the food like there? Is the parking okay? Is this team all right? Am I okay doing this? What does this mean? Just message the TO. It's in their interest to make the event go well for you, but ultimately, we want to help.
Yeah, they wouldn't be running a tournament if they didn't want to be talking about Blood Bowl.
That is an excellent way of putting it, Ben. Yeah, that's bang on. Well done. Yeah, really good. So, we spoke about building a team. Make sure your team is clear and numbered or labelled is a really good one. So if you're using fancy models from different ranges, just make sure that it's easy to see what a model is. If you're going to take a model that looks like a Minotaur, make sure that it's labelled up that it is not a Minotaur if you're not running it as a Minotaur, for example, because people will look at it and go, right, that guy's strength 5, he's got horns, okay, fine. And it turns out it's an ogre. Actually, it can confuse people, and we want it to be as easy as possible.
Yeah.
And that's for everyone, really. One of the things I did see at a tournament was a guy had painstakingly numbered his players with runes, which was very cool. Norse runes.
The language that everyone knows.
Yeah, and it was kind of like, that is really cool, but it makes it tricky to follow what's going on. So, just keep it clear. You don't necessarily have to paint your models. It depends on the tournament rules pack, which you've already read. But, if you, for example, our tournaments, you don't have to paint them. It looks great if you do, but, just label them, just make it clear. If you're there to play it as a board game, that's absolutely fine. Let's just make it clear and easy so that you don't create any situations. So, and you're ahead of time, so you can do this. And if you're stuck labelling your models, let the TO know, because I imagine they'll have a great way around it. So, I've got a whole load of stickers. If someone's coming to one of our tournaments and they're like, hey, how do I mark my models up? I'll say, don't worry too much about it. If you can get it sorted, get it sorted. Otherwise, get here a couple of minutes early and I'll give you some stickers and you can number up your guys then.
Nice.
But that does link into this one, which is have a plan for marking skills. It's exactly the same thing. You can get stickers, you can get skill rings, you can use coloured elastic bands. Just make sure that it all ties into your roster, and it's clear and obvious to see.
Yeah, I think it can just be as simple as writing it on the base, just using acronyms, just something which at a glance you can see, just a little reminder, because sometimes it's not clear that one of your blitzers has tackle, the other one has dodge, or something like that. Just give a little hint to your opponent, because it would suck to go and someone make a block and then you'd be like, actually they have dodge, and they thought, oh, I didn't know that. You don't want to have that discussion.
It takes away that element of uncertainty. Lewis does this for his league guys. He writes what their level up are on the basis with Tipex or my Sharpie or something.
Just a D for dodge or something. It'll be enough for people to remember.
Yeah, just a little bit to differentiate it. So, a couple of cool things here that the guys did mention online was good teams for tournaments and power builds. So, you're thinking ahead, you're building a team. Take what you enjoy playing. It doesn't matter on the build. The great thing about Blood Bowl is even with different tierings and things, the teams are going to end up within 100k of each other, and any Blood Bowl game can go any way when your team values are that close. So, don't worry too much about I need to take a top tier list. It really doesn't matter. We just saw that some teams with some very top tier teams came middle of the rank. It's about the game. But do bear in mind that if you're going to go with an all lineman team, you're running an all lineman team and you're playing a different game than if you go Wood Elves and you take all Wood Elf linemen, you won't be as effective as a War Dancer. But just be okay with it. But play what you like, play what you enjoy. If it's humans, run humans. It doesn't matter if you're not running a Wood Elf team. You're still going to win games. You can still win loads of games with humans. And if you're going to go stunty because you love playing ogres, then go play ogres. I did at Birmingham. I was like, you know what? I can't handle the stress of dying with my Skaven. I'm just going to take ogres. I went 1-1-1. It was great.
You do see it a lot of people. A lot of people play stunty at tournaments because they are just a laugh.
The very first list that we got in for Beachhead was a halfling team, which is awesome. And they've got Rumbelow Sheepskin in there as well, which is wicked.
Because it's like... Oh, yeah, sorry, carry on.
I was going to say, he's the guy on the sheep, or the goat, which is... Really yeah. But yeah, you can go stunties because that's your challenge. That's what you enjoy doing. That's all that matters. You're playing Blood Bowl.
Yeah. In a league, playing a stunty team in a league, it's like 6 months of torture. A tournament, you get it done in a day.
And it doesn't matter what team you run, you'll end up with stories. So but take what team you enjoy playing. Take a team that you know, or that you understand, and just don't worry too much about power builds. If you're going to go to play to win, the great thing about the way that TOs run different tournaments with the different build packages and the different skill allowances and the different tiers and things is that you can't really matrix game it.
No, you can't. You kind of know what the best thing out there will be.
Well, you
and
don't,
you can plan around that being.
So look at the World Cup where they had the 4 different tiers. And and this is the good thing about the tiering system is that when you're looking at skills and so Beachhead, will use that one because it's coming up soon. Your tier 1 teams, they get 100k's worth of stuff. The tier 2 teams get 150k's worth of stuff. So then you're stuck there thinking, right, Wood Elves are great, but when they're playing against a Chaos team at 1.1 million that have 150k's worth of skills and stat ups, that's not a gimme, and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, no, it's nice that you have that little offset.
I'm a huge fan of the tier.
It can, I think it always works. I haven't really seen it not work.
No, which is cool, and I think that's why you do have so many people playing stunty is because they get a whole load of stuff. Yeah. Which is cool, yes, and I think that's it, and I like the way it does that. So that's some of the things you can think about ahead of time if you're thinking about going to a tournament. But now you've agreed to go to the tournament, you've paid, you've sent your roster, you've built your team, you're all good to go. The day before, a couple of top tips for you. Pack your gear the day before or a couple of days before, have it ready to go. So your team, a pitch, your templates, your dice, books if you need them, some snacks, some drinks, glue. So many people said bring glue.
So yeah, it's something I always forget is super glue.
So a
It's
good
something
TO,
I always need.
yeah, a good TO will have a first aid centre for your model. So I tend to. It's really quite funny at League. The guys are like, "Does anyone have glue or a tape measure or dice?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've got it here," because you know what, it's really important. And if everybody tries to bring everything, you should never end up in a situation where no one has something.
Yeah, so go back like 30 seconds or a minute and
Yeah.
write those down and save it somewhere. Like on a notepad or a note on your phone or something like that. Have a little to-do list. And each time you go to the tournament, check those off and you should be fine.
So team, pitch, templates, dice, books, snacks, drinks, glue.
You should be okay.
Just stuff, yeah. And
Yeah.
another top tip that so many people said was get a good sleep.
Oh, so important.
Get a good sleep, have everything ready to go in the morning so you can just wake up and go to your tournament feeling rested. So Ben, I know we had a couple of bits to talk about, like straight from the horse's mouth, and I think we'll try. What was the one where it talked about the mental thing? I can't remember. You know what? Never mind. We'll come back to that in a minute.
Okay.
Because yeah, being rested is really, really, really important. Because the way I see it, you're playing at least 3 games of Blood Bowl. That's 16 turns. So you're doing 48 individual puzzles in a day. And
Was that... Oh, sorry.
That's right.
Carry on.
I was going to say that. So you want to be well rested, and yeah, have everything ready to go. So day before, get your stuff all organised, have a good night's sleep, do your very, very best not to be painting your team at midnight the day before a tournament. Trust me.
Oh, I'm going to say it's the worst feeling, and I can say that because I've done it on every tournament we've been to, where I'm there at 2 a.m. just thinking, why did I agree to put 50 things on this model's base or something like that? Just get it done beforehand. You thank yourself because the good night's rest.
That wear team was lovely.
It was lovely, and I wish I could have seen it through my bleary eyes the morning after.
No, it is a understated piece of advice.
I think, was it John Wagg in the community who posted,
yes,
treat it like you would exams for school?
Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is one we wanted to read out just because it's really good advice. So this is from John. It's a mental marathon, so take it like you would exams for school. Eat healthy and drink lots of water the day before. Get a good night's sleep that night as well. Eat a big meal the morning of the day. Take snacks and water. Gather all your stuff and have it waiting next to the door or in your car the night before. There's less rushing around in the morning. You can just go and you don't have to worry about forgetting things. And that was really a really solid piece of advice that a lot of people echoed, but John really put it very succinctly there.
Yeah, and anyone who's been to a tournament will know that it is a mental marathon in a fun way. You feel really stimulated, which we'll come to later, but like you want to be raring to go. You want to have everything fresh in your mind, like you would memorising for the exam, like you said. So
yeah, it's a funny way to think about it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so true.
No. What are we going to do this weekend? This weekend I'm going to pay to take an exam for fun.
That's university, isn't it?
Well, basically, yeah. So it's the it's the day of the tournament now. So put a couple of bits of advice here from the community as well. Loads of people all about the shorts.
It's so big. I mean, Ian's a big advocate of shorts. He's youngster Joey of the group, isn't he?
Ian was straight in there. It's like, wear shorts, take deodorant, stay hydrated, know your rules, be casual, but make sure you can finish the game. May need to suggest times if it's looking tight.
Yeah.
That's Ian's summary. And Ian goes to quite a lot of tournaments, whether it's Blood Bowl or Age of Sigmar. He 10 out of 10 recommends wearing shorts all the time, and your mileage may vary. So we're playing Beachhead. Beachhead's at the Bic. The Bic is a big place. It may not be as hot as a tournament in a game store or something like that. So
yeah, and it is January or February.
It's February, so you may not need shorts, but actually take comfortable clothes. Wear trainers, wear boots, wear what makes you comfortable. Like, you're going to be there a long day. It's going to be a long day. Be comfortable.
If it's the peak of summer, really definitely recommend shorts. I've went to one tournament last year, which I think was Bonehead Bowl, was it?
Oh, it was Bonehead Bowl.
Yeah, that was the hottest day of the year. Sometimes your tournament rooms might not have the best aircon. Love and toyment.
Oh man,
the aircon is.
The aircon was awesome. It's just it was what 30 something degrees outside.
Yeah, it was struggling. You're struggling.
We've had the worst weather for our tournaments as well. So Bonehead Bowl was absolutely steaming outside, and then was it Sewer Bowl was a weather warning for floods and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah.
So when Tombstone came around, I think we got away with it. I was expecting a blizzard. It was literally like someone outside was like, "Ooh, Blood Bowl tournament. Let's have a look at that weather chart."
Yeah, rolls the weather for you. Yeah. So good.
So yeah, wear comfortable clothes. Leave with time and make it as chill as possible. So yeah, be organised, leave with time on the day, get there early, be relaxed. You know, the worst thing that happens if you're early is you get a chance to go around and find something to eat or just have a chat. And this is something I've absolutely loved about every tournament I've gone to, is you get there early like, hey, you know, stranger, what team are you running today? Oh, I'm running this team because I played them last. And you know what? You're all there to play Blood Bowl. So Blood Bowl is a massive passion for most people. So you've got something in common with everyone there.
It's the best feeling, just going and having that time to chat. Just pretend it starts half an hour or an hour earlier than it does, and just get there for that time. And you'll be thankful for it to have that time to meet and greet.
And you get a chance to look at other people's teams and show off what you've done. It's really cool, man. It's understated.
Absolutely.
So many people have commented this one. For all tournaments, shower and use deodorant. It's a full-on day.
Yeah, it's one where, you know, we don't want to admit it, but it's got to be done. It's not. It's, you know, if it's not meant in a bad way, but it's just considerate.
Yeah, gamer funk is a real thing.
Yeah,
and you know, whether you're playing Magic the Gathering, whether you're a Blood Bowl tournament, a Sigmar tournament, you're in a small space with a bunch of guys. Things do get heated, especially the players. And you know what? It can get warm and it can get smelly. So do your best to help contribute to a pleasant environment. Because I think
I think every single tournament I've been to has never been an issue. I think everyone's acknowledged that. And
it's kind of like a terror from the past now, which is an awesome thing. Actually, it needs to stay there.
I think people are more aware of it now.
Yeah, which is brilliant. And the last tip for the tournament day before we go into the matches is bring water, drink water, stay hydrated.
So important.
I'm really bad at this. I will take any opportunity to have energy drink and tea, which are both things that do dehydrate you, which then can sometimes ends up in me getting a migraine. So water, really recommend it. Most places have places where you can buy water, and the good thing about water is you can get it for free in most places as well. So
yeah, just take a bottle with you on the day, and that'll be fine.
And just top up. Okay, so it's game time. You're at the event now. You're playing the games. There's a load of advice here, and it's all really, really, really good. So we'll try and go through it as quickly as we can, but they're really important points. So first things first, say hi to all of your opponents. Be friendly, be open, be there to have a great game.
Most important rule.
Absolutely. I think you even put that in the feedback to the community as well, didn't you, Ben?
Yeah, I think so.
There we go. In all seriousness, I'd say that you don't remember the games you win or lose. You remember the ones where you had a good time and a friendly opponent. So be that guy. That's it. That's from Bloodtithe Ben through our group chat.
Yes.
And it's a really, really, really good point. And so many people said that, which I think really just highlights the great thing about Blood Bowl. I mean, the Facebook can get raucous and there's a load of things to argue about. But when you're there playing games with people, you're playing there to create this story and this puzzle. And generally speaking, everyone just wants to have a great time and create an epic moment with you. So yeah, be polite, be open, and just say hello.
I think I was having this discussion recently with some friends where it's funny how the interactions in person are so different to social media, where we're currently in a time where we communicate so much over the internet. You kind of, sometimes it's easy to forget how easy and nice it is to just be in person.
Yeah. It is.
Like, without trying to sound too profound, it's
really true though. It's just lovely to meet up with people and play games.
It is. It's such a nice experience.
To be human. But right, so talking of humans, there's a lot of things that can be considered ambiguous. So right from the beginning of the game, agree on a few things, and this is the things that the community recommended. So agree what's a cock dice, how you're gonna what you're gonna re-roll. If you're gonna re-roll all of them, re-roll all of them. How you're gonna determine it. You're better off doing that at the beginning and agreeing it, so you both know what rules you're playing with throughout the game.
An easy one is if it's not flat, it's cocked, and then there's no argument. Yeah.
Exactly. Are you going to be using dice towers? Are you going to be using dice cups? Are you going to be using trays? And again, so many people said, do not slam dice cups, please.
Yeah,
which was really funny. How many people said that? Because that's one thing that has become a bit of a trope. Is that there was always a couple of people that really take it out on the table, which is fine when you're at home. But if you're at a tournament, the tables are shared and the volume's loud. It's just unnecessary, and it's not great.
Yeah, if you're going to use a dice cup, just do it gently. It's just a nicer experience without bang, 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 bang all the time.
The slamming, yeah. So it was cool that a lot of the community agreed with that one. Talk to you, agree, like say, right, when I've moved my players, I'm going to turn them round. So you just agree that, so there's no ambiguity. Turning over players at the end of your turn from stunned to prone. To avoid that, actually I'll turn him over at the beginning, and then I don't know if he's started face down or if he's now ready to get up. Yeah, no, don't worry, just agree. So I'm going to always do my stun guys at the end. Are you okay to do the same? Yeah, cool, wicked. You set off knowing that you're clear on what's going on, and also use this as an opportunity to talk. Right, do you want to use a timer, or do you want to see how we are at half? And then probably one of the most important things is, right, just make sure that you're each clear on the game pieces. So, if you're running a Minotaur as an ogre, just explain that this is an ogre because I love the model. Oh yeah, no worries, that's fine. We talk about it at the beginning. Or the guy with the yellow band is the one with block. It's written on my team sheet. Do you want a copy of my team sheet? Here you go. Yeah. It just the more time you can save communicating, the quicker and easier the game will go.
It's so much easier to have these discussions before the game started than it is mid-game. It's so much easier and so much more time saving. So I think one more thing to agree on as well is something which I saw, I think a couple of people mentioned, was ask if they're okay touching models before you do it.
That's such a great point.
Yeah, so if you're going to lay models down, don't go and do it, just ask if they do it. They might be glued really precariously on the base and you can't see that obviously, so just make sure they're okay with that.
I guess the ultimate rule here is just be respectful in every way as often as you can. Yeah, that's a really, really, really good one. I didn't check when we played our Sevens tournament last week. When I played against Milton, he was running catchers as linemen. Genuinely, my very first turn, I went up, knocked this catcher down, and then fouled him, thinking he was a catcher, only to be sent off. To then realise that actually it was just a lineman. And I was like, oh, okay, that's my fault because I didn't check at the beginning. We didn't confirm what was what. So it is definitely worthwhile just going through and saying, well, these guys are these guys. Yeah, great, because you just you can make better decisions. You've got a better win chance for the very least. So a couple of other things here. So play tight when you're playing the game. Do the important things first. And this was I saw a couple of people post this. It's really good advice. This is for Blood Bowl all of the time. Play like you expect every roll to fail and be okay with it.
That is a really good advice.
Yeah, so when you're doing your turns, go, right, what can I do that's not going to affect the fail? When I move this guy and he falls over and dies, am I going to be happy with where it finishes? That's playing tight. It's just really good Blood Bowl advice, but also if you kind of front load yourself to say, right, I'm going to put him there, then I'm going to go him there, he's going to stuff it up and die, but that's okay because I put him there to prepare for it. You will play a tighter game. You will be reasonably happy. It's learning to lose gracefully, one step at a time.
Expecting to fail.
Expect to fail and be okay with it.
Yeah.
Play clean. Talk through what you're doing. We've all played those players that just roll dice and then like, yeah, that was for this. You're like, okay, like sure, but it would be much better if you would say, right, he's going to move here, he's making a pass action, he's doing this. Talk through what you're doing, because if there's any ambiguity, you'll just have to redo it. So yeah, don't leave any opportunity for ill feeling and also a misunderstanding of the rules, because what will happen in any TO is if you just start rolling dice and the other player's like, look mate, you've not actually said what you're doing or who's doing it, so the TO will come over if he's summoned at that point and just say, right, actually guys, what you need to do then is restart the turn, because if you're not sure what you're doing, let's just restart that action. and that can go one way or the other. Same as the cocked dice. If you don't set off the beginning, you can end up losing some great results.
One which I've seen a lot, actually, personally, is KOs. Sometimes people say, it's going to roll for that, going to roll for that, and they don't explicitly say which they're rolling, which can, again, lead to ambiguity. Like, it's not something I've had in my games, but I've witnessed before.
Yeah,
so you just roll a 4+ and say, oh, that was the blitzer. You know, just make it clear which one you're rolling for and stuff, because this is an easy one to, you just go through it after each drive and you might not think about it. So just make sure.
Yeah, and we're going to skip ahead just a quick second, which is here, is feel free to question what's going on. Like, don't be awkward about it. Just say, hey, what's going on with that? How does that work? Or can you, I'm really sorry, but those dice, can we share them? Can we do that? And I guess that's something we should have talked about as well, is you got to be able to share dice. And if your opponent is not willing to share dice, then most tournaments will say you've got to share dice, or they don't get to use those dice, because it takes out, again, that this seems questionable. And if your opponent's dice are absolutely going to town, say, hey, can we share those dice, or can you use different dice? Like, it's okay. It's a game.
It is okay. Yeah,
it's okay. The rules are there. Like, it's okay to ask for the rules to be adhered to. And if there's some confusion going on, it's okay to just say, hey, can we go through this step by step, or actually, can we redo this, because you've started rolling dice without talking to me about what they are. Like, I don't want to be awkward, but I'm just a bit confused by what's going on. Like, it's okay to do that. We're there to play a game, and the game has rules. Like, that's what they're there for.
The game's most fun when played correctly. If you are that guy who has funky dice, which I'm sure no one is, just don't.
it's not worth it. And the great thing is because of that, you can expect your opponent's dice to be legit. And just say, are we okay sharing dice? You got a problem with that? Nobody will say that they have a problem with it, just because everybody knows if you've played at least one game of Blood Bowl, it doesn't matter which dice you're rolling, they're going to hurt you.
Exactly.
So yeah,
the 6 is not necessarily always good.
It's never going to work out. Play polite. Don't be overly loud, and check your audience for bad language. Is probably the best one to say. Is, it's up to you what language you use. You are you. We would never stop you from being you, but it is a bit selfish for you to be acting in a way that actually makes somebody else feel uncomfortable. So just bear that in mind. If you're the kind of player that f-bombs your way around, do check around for children. Just check around for children.
Read the room.
Read the room is a great way of putting it. Everybody, you get that moment in the game where, I rolled a 1, rage. You know what? Be as polite and together about it as you can. Don't worry if you can't, or if you get too excited. I know that a lot of people hate it when you chant roll a 1, roll a 1, roll a 1, roll a 1. But obviously you be you, but just try not to disrupt other people's games.
Yeah, that's,
I guess.
Important.
So a couple of other simple game ones here. Announce your turns and announce your opponent's turns. As in the turn number.
Please do. I always missed my turn type, putting my token up the turn track.
It helps so much. Now, I'm very lucky where I do so much of the YouTube. It's just a part of my life now. When I play Blood Bowl, I'm like, okay, so Goblin turn 3. It just helps, and actually it is a really subtle prompt to move your turn markers to keep it going. So right, that's my turn 3 done. So this is your turn 4 now. Yeah, cool. So your turn 4. Move turn marker. Most tournaments, if not all tournaments, don't use the illegal procedure rule because it is a bit gnarly. But actually,
what is that rule? Just for someone who isn't familiar.
If they make an action, make an action without moving their turn marker, you say illegal procedure, and basically they lose a reroll.
That's a bit rough.
It's not a fun rule. So most tournaments don't use it, which is very advantageous because actually you should be working together to play a good game.
Exactly. That's a very gotcha rule.
It is. But it might actually encourage people to move the blooming turn markers because just be clear. And I think this is one of the bits of advice that Mike San San Numbers always talks about, is just say, that's the end of my turn 2, so your turn 3 now. Just work together to keep a track of what's going on. You've got turn markers.
Exactly.
It's really, really easy to use them. This one we've touched on already. Ask for help, ask for rules, question rules. It's a game. Using the rules is a requirement. Like, it's a requirement and an expectation. So yeah, I think you touched on this as well, Ben, but so many people said this, like, if you're not sure of a rule, just ask, talk it through. If you get stuck, bring the TO over, because we're there just to play a game for the rules, and it's okay not to know every rule, because there's loads, like there's hundreds of rules, and there will definitely be some circumstances where you're not entirely sure which order it goes. I think the best example of this is when I was at the first Mana Bowl. It was the Squig team, and the Squigs have Bloodlust and Really Stupid, and it was always like, do you roll, which order do you roll them, and do you do this? And it's down to the TO to decide a way to do it. And when we do it on the YouTube channel, for example, we do it in alphabetical order.
Makes sense.
Yeah, you know what, it just makes just alphabetical order and apply it that way. I think that again is probably from Magic. That's just how it goes on the stack. That's how you resolve it. Groovy.
It'd be very rare to play a game where like all the rules are correct. So just, you know, it will happen. You will get into a game where you don't know the rules. It will happen.
We know that from running the YouTube games.
Yeah.
I guess every game you work together to create new ways to get the rules wrong. Just work as a team, and you get less wrong. And if you get them wrong, you get them wrong together, and it's kind of balanced in that regard. So apothecary. This is one great bit of advice that Steve flagged up. Is it apothecaries? So apothecaries can be used to keep guys on the pitch. You'll see it way more often than in leagues. So Ben, you'll know from being a league player, you hold on to your apothecary so that your blitzer doesn't die.
Yes.
In a tournament, you can just use him to go, you know, to get him back into badly hurt, or to knock that result from KO'd back to stunned. Just be aware that people are going to do that, and that you can do it, and it's going to be okay.
Yeah, it's a different use.
This game. Yeah, that's a really good bit of advice there from Steve, because actually that's something I hadn't really considered. Is that yes, if it's your first tournament and you play in a league, things are going to work differently. Oh yeah, so many people said this one. Mention to your opponent that you're new. Most coaches will be supportive. When it is most coaches, it is literally 99.9% of coaches they'll help you out. They'll probably even offer you advice.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing, is when someone's clearly new, and you'll know when they're clearly new, or they might not be too familiar and they've done their best. Just don't take advantage of it, because it's not going to be fun for you or them. Just say, like, do you, like, if they're going to make an unfavorable block or something, just say, like, if you do that, it might be better. It might hurt you in the short run, but it'll make the game better in the long run, which is so much more important.
Yeah. I mean, I think the best one, I saw this at club this week. Simon was there. He was playing his Dark Elves against Rob's Orcs, I think. Rob was setting up on deployment, and Simon was like, hey, look, you do what you want to do, but I do have a Witch Elf with Frenzy, so if you put a guy there, it's a really easy surf for me, so you'd be better off putting one square in. Yes, it leaves a square open, but you can kind of counter block. It's up to you, but if you put him there, there's a very good chance he's going to get into the crowd. And that's
such a good gesture.
Yeah, that's really nice. You know what? That's just kind of a catch-up mechanic, which I think is really, really great to see.
Yeah.
Ask for feedback after the games. So that was from Ashley. You can learn so much, and we're going to touch on that in a minute. But yes, talk to your opponent like, oh, you know, how did that go? You know, what do you reckon I could have done differently? You know, do you remember this play? It's never a bad thing to learn from what you've done. And another bit of great advice, which is just Blood Bowl all day long. Make your opponent roll more dice than you. They'll fail more.
That's true. Blood Bowl.
That is. And it is. Blood Bowl is a game of risk management.
Yeah.
And if you are in a situation where you force them to make your rolls, and you know what, I think a great example of that is the troll on the line, right? It may be tempting to go for that sweet block, but if you get it wrong, he loses his tackle zones. And you've really upset yourself. Sometimes it's okay for that guy with guard to not activate, to just stay there. Let them try and block you.
That's not a bad shout.
It's one of those things. Okay, so this is the next bit, Ben, which is the day's over. Right, you've won prizes, you've not won prizes, you've had a great day. What can you do at the end of the day? What things do you do after a tournament to kind of just move on?
I always say, anyone who I went with, if I knew them, often even if I don't, I say thanks for the games. I remember I had one opponent last time who we had a little conversation on Facebook after it based on the game, and we said just like maybe I'd change that up, and it was really nice to have that discussion with someone I wouldn't normally talk to just be like, oh, like maybe you should have done that differently, and like yeah, it was just really fun, and it was nice to have that after conversation. So I think it's important to maybe go back and reflect on what you enjoyed and what you didn't enjoy, and change that up for the next one, or change it up for the league. If you didn't like the team you had, is it time to keep that team or something? You know, it's just a nice moment to reflect, and I always enjoy that part after the day of just, you know, dataing.
And that's it. And generally speaking, you know, in between rounds and before the prizes are announced, or even at the very last bit after that, the guys or girls or people you've spent the day playing games with, you've been chatting with, and you at that point you can kind of loiter with a couple of them, just say, how'd you get on? Like, what went well? Did you like the kickoff table? You know, just enjoy it. Just chat about it, enjoy it, and like, I think you summed it up really well, Ben. Actually, learn from it. Learn what you liked, and then talk to others about how you can exacerbate that. If it was, I really liked it because I got my games done really quick, maybe try sevens. You know, I really like my ogre. He was great. Maybe try ogres. Like, you know, just learn from what you enjoyed and go do that more.
It's quite funny. We did Sewer Bowl Evans, and I took Amazons for the first time. It's the first time playing them. Got a team made up for them. Playing Amazons throughout the day. Did quite well. I think I came third.
Yeah,
but
we did very well. We did. I
finished. Yeah, I mean, I just finished the day and thought, you know what? I don't think I like Amazons. They're just not that fun. So
you learned that from them, and then moved on to
exactly.
I can't remember what you ran the next tournament. Oh, the Ware team.
Yeah, which was quite different.
Yeah, well, very different. Yeah. So there was one other little bit I pulled out that I just wanted to read out, which was from Michael. Actually, there's Michael, and there's the final part of the other one that we read out. So let's go with Michael. So really, really succinctly put, for new tournament players: 1, play a few games with the pitch reversed from how you normally play. If you're an end zone guy, switch to the sides. This is a huge mind game if you get to a tournament and they have narrow tables. So not something we've spoken about. Most tournaments, you'll either play you play end to end, but there will be some where you end up playing sideline to sideline, and it can be really jarring. So, you know, try it out, see what you prefer. Understand that your opponent is playing to win. Sounds obvious, but some players are surprised. Yeah. You know, sometimes you get a different vibe when you're playing friendlies or when you're playing league, because you're not always playing to win. You're playing to have fun, or you're playing to build up to grind your levels on your players. It's a different element in tournaments because most of them are resurrection. You can sacrifice people. It's more of that edge. It's like, I'll go all in here. I'll go for the triple dodge. It'll be fine if my blitzer dies. I'll get him back. Understand that some will foul for no reason. It's part of the game. Great advice.
I totally agree.
Foul away. Most tournaments actually reward you for fouling by giving a dirty player prize or something. Yeah, fouling is underutilized because if you're in a league, it can be pretty horrible. I've spent 6 months building this guy, and you're just going to injure him for the sake of being injured. Actually, in a tournament, it might be eligible for that extra casualty for your tournament score. It might just help you out in the next round. It's
a solid rule in the game, and it's, some of those high armor players, it's kind of the only way to remove them.
Yeah. Be aware that people are going to be fouling. Realise that stalling isn't unsportsmanlike. It is a valid tactic.
Yeah, so true. So I've seen new players come into the game thinking, oh, stalling, is that really seems a bit cheeky, but no, it's
I'll just score now. And actually, you just risk. I mean,
exactly.
Stalling is important, and yes, and it goes back to that other point that Michael made, which is your opponent's going to be playing to win, and that's okay. That's okay. Pay attention to your game. If you want to spectate, don't play. Do give your opponent the respect of being present in that game. If a big event is going on next to one of your other games, invite your opponent to look as well. Be like, oh my god, have you seen this? I know you're in the middle of your turn, but look, he's about to do a triple dodge touchdown with a go for it. You can enjoy it together. It's okay, and then go back to focusing on your game. We've touched on this one. Be prepared to play faster. Most new players have enjoyed a leisurely game. Time limits are there, and you can lose by dragging your feet. And rules too. Be familiar with the rules. You may not be able to memorize everything, but be at least confident with what they are. and 8, relax and have fun. So I thought Michael did a great job of just summing up some of the points we hadn't spoken about, because I think they're really valid.
No, I agree. I think the key ones there were, the end zone thing hadn't ever considered, and the fouling and stalling is totally valid strategies. I totally agree with that.
And I just want to finish off John's comments from earlier as well. While playing games, don't let rubbish dice ruin your concentration. It can always swing against your opponent just as quickly. Keep playing a solid strategy. Don't get emotional. We've all seen a miracle or two happen.
Yes, we have.
Bottom line, go to have fun. Nuffle will stitch you up when you think everything's good. So everyone who's played Blood Bowl at some point will just utter the phrase, "Go for it into the end zone. It's okay. I have a reroll." It's not okay. You're not getting it.
Drive off a cliff. It's fine.
Yeah, never reroll a failed go for it. It's just a waste of a go for it. Yeah. So, and he's also put there, on your opponent's turn, feel free to just stand up, have a stretch. Just keep mobile, keep your body from being lethargic, keep active, keep being alive. Really, just
stay healthy.
Wiggle your legs. That's actually really good advice. But I have to say that, and I would love to do a little topic on the podcast in the future about winning, about playing to win Blood Bowl. And it is those things like that. Don't worry about rolling bad dice. Plan for your dice to fail, and create opportunities for their dice to fail. And that is, I've played a lot of Magic in my time, Magic the Gathering, and in Magic, even if you've got a very slim chance of winning, what you do is you play out and you go, right, I'm going to play this way. My only out is to draw this removal spell, so I will play like this. If I draw that removal spell, I'm back in the game. If I don't, that's okay. There's nothing more I can do. Sometimes you're going to draw that spell. Sometimes you're going to roll that double 6 in Blood Bowl. They're going to double skull, and you're going to have that momentum shift because you've played for the percentage. There's a 3% extra opportunity for me to get this. Just play for that. And that's what I want to talk about in a different episode, because there's some stuff there that I've learned in Blood Bowl that you just play for that extra chance, and you can pull out some ridiculous results. So my 7-3 Wood Elf Goblin one is a great one. Or when I played in tournament against Richard's Monsoon with my Skaven and pulled out 5-0. It's because I applied the opportunities every single time, and they either work out or they don't. But if you play for them, when they work out, it works. You know what they say about luck? Luck is opportunity plus preparedness. You can prepare. Just wait for that opportunity, so stick with it. So yeah. Ben, is there anything on there about tournaments you don't think we've covered yet?
I think we've covered it all. It's it just comes down to, it's a day of Blood Bowl, and that's it. You can't... I don't think you can prepare any more than what we've suggested, and just go out there with the mindset of having fun, and you'll be absolutely fine. It's the best thing you can do. I was nervous on my first tournaments, and then you go to one, you get hooked. It's great.
That's it. You were nervous going to your first tournament, and then you get back and you're like, why was I nervous? It was just great. And so that's my last piece of advice for tournaments, is just go to them, have fun, talk to other people who are going to them, and just come along and have a great day. It's just a really special event, and Blood Bowl's a great game, and it's just a really great way of doing it. It's just focused League. It's League where you do all the work at home and you just rock up and play the games.
We're all like-minded nerds that like to move around plastic orcs throwing balls.
It's a great puzzle.
Everyone's in the same boat.
Exactly. Right. That wraps it up for tournament top tips. Let us know if we've missed anything out, and let us know if you're going to a tournament soon. Doesn't even matter if it's local. Just let us know where you're going, what you're running, because this is the best part. This is the best part of Blood Bowl, is playing the games.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, Ben. Let's move on to the star player of the episode.
Yeah, let's do it.
And it's star player time. So, Gloriel Summerbloom has been released by Forge World, and I know that Ben is a big fan of the model. I think it's not bad. But we haven't really had a chance to go through this star player for a little while, so we thought we'd talk through Gloriel Summerbloom so you can find out what that star player model actually does.
Yeah. You kick off.
Right, let's go. So, Gloriel Summerbloom, the Flower Spirit. So, there's a bit of blurb. Because it's a new star player, I'm going to read it out real quick. Though Wood Elves are often known for their whimsical natures, Gloriel Summerbloom is viewed as a particularly carefree and free-spirited. Though she has gone on record as finding the profoundly entertaining violence of Blood Bowl to be distasteful, Gloriel still regularly takes to the field, justifying her participation with claims that true serenity can be reached upon the pitch. While violence may not be her forte, the skill of her throwing arm is beyond doubt, able to throw a perfect pass with her eyes literally closed, in what many described as nature aiding her efforts. So she is only 68 years old, she's 5 foot 5 inches and 109 pounds, so she is a tiny wood elf.
Yeah. Is 68 young for a wood elf?
I would assume so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they have the hundreds, don't they?
I mean, for those of you who follow the NFL, they're nearly the same age as Tom Brady. Yeah. So, Gloriel Summerbloom, we are looking at Wood Elf. She can only play for Wood Elf teams. And we're looking at 160,000 gold pieces, which for a star player isn't a lot.
No, it's on the lower end.
Yeah, the stars that are this kind of lewd grip and things like that that are 150 to 180, they're the ones you can normally take. But it does have the benchmark of this, of her, or a wizard, which is starting to become our little catchphrase. So yeah, let's talk this through. So she is movement 7, agility 4, armor 7, but she's strength 2.
It's kind of rough to have that on a star player.
It is, but let's see what skills she's got to see if it makes it worthwhile. So she's got Loner, which is a given. Accurate, dodge, pass, sidestep, and sure hands. So we've got an accurate passing Edge 4 player here.
Yeah. So she makes a great thrower.
So what we're doing 2+, 2+, 3+, 4+, yeah?
Yeah.
With a reroll. So if you want a long bomb with this girl, you've got a 75% success rate of that long bomb. And yes, star players, we don't want to do this kind of thing, is because they have Loner. We can't reroll it. She's got pass.
She can.
Like, it's okay. And you know, that kind of takes the edge off. And this player's got sure hands as well.
I know we mentioned on the last episode about, I think we talked about, what was the Dark Elf guy, wasn't it? Asperon Thorn.
Yeah, very similar thing actually.
Yeah, he's got all the rerolls you want to do are built in. You can reroll the pickup, you can reroll a dodge, you can reroll a pass. Yeah.
And the great thing about Gloriel is she's strength 2, but you're not going to be blocking with her. So exactly. The fact she's got no block skills is fine. She's got dodge to protect her, and let's face it, Edge 4 dodge is never a bad thing.
No.
So really, what you've got in Gloriel Summerbloom is 160k for a quarterback. She is your pocket passer. She's picking up a ball on a 2+ with a reroll most of the time. She can get out of a spot with a 2+ with a reroll most of the time, and then she's making a pass on a 2+ with a reroll up to 6 squares away, 3+ with a reroll 9 squares away. This is a really interesting player. So your Wood Elves, you're down 160,000. The advantages of Gloriel Summerbloom. Ben, what do you think?
I mean, she's basically... I can't imagine you get a thrower for that price with all those skills anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, sure, I think they're a strength less. She's a strength less than most throwers.
Yeah.
But does that matter?
Right. You know what? We didn't even touch on the fact she's got sidestep, which I think is a bit of a pointless skill. But, okay, we're looking at accurate, dodge, sure hands. So that's 60k. And Wood Elf throwers are 90k, I think. So 150k for your thrower to be that.
Yeah.
But you've got to get that Wood Elf with armor 7 to survive long enough to get to level 4.
So yeah, say your thrower's down, you've got 160k inducements, you can replace that thrower with Gloriel Summerbloom.
So Wood Elves have a great rushing game. They have a great running game with the War Dancers. But if your War Dancers out and you've got that TV difference, you can win games using this player with your guys in a league still scoring SPP.
Yeah.
Tournaments is quite an interesting one. This piece gives Wood Elves a genuine throwing game.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It turns them into high elves.
Well, kind of. I mean, Pro Elves are the best team for throwing. High Elves are probably the second best team. But Wood Elves, they've got the catchers. The catchers are cheap for a movement 8 piece with sprint and a bunch of skills. So, you know, you could build a Wood Elf throwing team that could excel using this player. I think that makes it really interesting from a tournament build point of view.
No, I agree. I think it's this player is new, yeah. This is
yeah, came out
new.
in the Spike magazine.
Yes, I think I quite like this direction where the affordable pieces you can actually run in these teams. You know, because you could get a 300k player in Wood Elves, but when would you ever be in a position where you can afford a 300k player in a Wood Elf team?
Yeah, you're either stacking upwards in a league or you're binning off half your team to achieve it in a tournament.
Yeah.
But 160k in a 1 million build, you know, a lot of the teams at the World Cup, I think it was about 1 million build, they took Treeman.
Exactly.
You can fudge it so you can fit Gloriel Summerbloom in instead, and then you can just have a great time throwing the ball. Whether it's optimal versus the War Dancers and just doing Wood Elf things, may not be, but one of the things I love about these star players is it gives you a different build. It gives you a different way to play Wood Elves.
Yeah. There's people who say passing game isn't legitimate, don't play elves. Passing game is totally legitimate.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Orc throwing game is legitimate, if you can believe it.
Yeah.
So, my last question to you, Ben, is it Gloriel Summerbloom or a Wizard?
For me, Gloriel. Honestly.
I agree with you. I mean, it's great fun to zap the heck out of a cage of people, and against dwarves, I think, yeah, maybe a Wizard might be better. But against a team that you can play a game of Blood Bowl against, Gloriel's just going to invigorate your team, and they're just not safe. You get her the ball,
yeah,
you've got a touchdown basically.
I think that's the argument I made before. Is a Wizard you pay 150k to sometimes do things on a 2+.
Yeah.
Well, you can get a player who does lots.
Yeah, who you've always got a body.
Yeah.
Always got someone in there, and at the very least, they can just pick up the ball with sure hands and save you that reroll. You know, really good. So I actually really like Gloriel Summerbloom.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
and the model,
fantastic.
It's great.
The model is great. It's really tempting. Really tempting. A little project there. Wonderful. Right, Ben. For me, that wraps up everything for the show. Anything else you want to add today?
I think we've covered a lot today.
We have covered a lot. So, everybody out there, thank you so much if you're still listening. Sorry it was a massive episode, but actually, I feel like it was worth talking through those bits.
Yeah.
And hopefully, you'll have some opinions you want to share with us about whether we're right, whether we're wrong, because I would love to hear that from you guys, because we just want to help support the community as much as we can.
Yeah, feedback's always good.
Yeah, so hopefully there'll be some exciting news for Blood Bowl from the Las Vegas Open, and I will look forward to seeing some of you at Beachhead. But otherwise, Ben, thank you so much for joining me on the show again today.
No, thanks for having me, as always.
Always fun to have you on the show. And everybody out there, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for supporting the show, and we will see you in a couple of weeks.